So earlier today, someone on Facebook had shared this video in regards to the Iowa Hawkeye basketball player Jordan Bohannon and how he purposely missed his 35th consecutive free throw to set the Iowa Hawkeye record because he wanted to keep the record to this guy, Chris Street, who was a former Iowa Hawkeye basketball player, and he died in a car accident in 1993. And he had the record at 35 or 34 free throws, and he died before you could ever find out if he was going to continue the streak or whatever. And the purpose of this video is just to show yet another example of how our sports leagues and our media, they're all intertwined and they're synced up with this system called gematria. They're scripted this way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check the links in the description. I have over 1,000 videos, with multiple examples using the same method over and over, showing the same thing. These sports leagues are absolutely scripted by the numbers, and whenever we get media stories about the sports leagues or media stories about anything, it is always scripted this way. A person's name in gematria will equal the same as their age or the age that they died or how many days away they died from their birthday, just every single day. If you just pay attention, they use numbers in the story for a specific reason. And that's what I'm going to show in this video. So check out the links in the description. But gematria is just the practice of coding numbers into words. And, try it out for yourself. It's absolutely obvious that it's going on. So we get the story, Jordan Bohannon, and just look at it. In gematria, Iowa Hawkeyes, these are the 4 base ciphers right here. Iowa Hawkeyes, 145 and 55, and 62 in reverse, and 179 in reverse. And this game that he missed the free throw in, it was against Northwestern. Northwestern equals 145, 179, 62. Just like Iowa Hawkeyes. Jordan Bohannon in gematria also equals 145, just like Iowa Hawkeyes, just like Northwestern, the team that he missed the free throw against. I also pointed out if you write out free throw equals 55, just like Iowa Hawkeyes. There's all kinds of examples of this throughout history that I'm going to show more of here in a minute too. But this Chris Street guy, so I looked him up, and he had the record of 34 free throws, and now he's tied with Jordan Bohannon with 34 free throws. If you write out Hawkeyes in gematria, Hawkeyes equal 34. Most likely the reason why he couldn't break the record yesterday at 35 or whatever. He couldn't break the record because they had to stay at 34 to sync up with Hawkeyes. And Hawkeyes also equals 119 in reverse. And notice this guy died, Chris Street. He died on January 19th, a lot like 119, 34 free throws. It syncs up to Hawkeyes. He died because of a car accident, and he got hit by a snowplow. Snowplow in gematria equals 34. 34 free throws, Hawkeyes 34, snowplow 34. And he died just before playing a game against Northwestern. And then this guy, doesn't break his record in the game against Northwestern. So Northwestern is the same as Iowa Hawkeyes. The current coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes is Fran McCaffrey. His name in gematria equals 119, just like Hawkeyes, right? Also, if you write out free throws, like more than one, it equals 56, and this story happened on the 56th day of the year. And if you write out 34, it also equals 56. And Jordan Bohannon wears number 3. If you write out the word 3, 3 also equals 56. And if you write out 56, it equals 55, just like Iowa Hawkeyes, just like free throw. It's interrelated. And I doubt it's a coincidence that this guy Street, Chris Street, he dies on a street. Who knows? Possibly a coincidence, but I doubt it. They also made a big deal then. This year was the 25th anniversary of him dying. And on that game, you know, they did a tribute or whatever to him on that game against Purdue on January 20th. And it was all about the number 40. And I just want to point out that in this game where Bohannon didn't break his record on purpose, he's the only player that played 40 minutes. In gematria, if you write out 40, it equals 24. Just like if you write out Iowa in the same form, Iowa equals 24. And this Memorial game, like I said, was against Purdue when Purdue was ranked number 3. I just think about Bohannon wearing number 3 and whatever else. But there's something with Purdue and how it's connected to the overall topic that the media keeps doing. There's a giant space theme. We got, you know, the Falcon Heavy launch that was absolutely coded by the numbers, synced up to the Stoneman Douglas shooting and Valentine's Day. And there's just been a huge space theme. And, you know, even the Astros won the World Series. A bunch of stuff going on with space. And last year I pointed out that Eugene Cernan and also Neil Armstrong, they both went to Purdue. And Neil Armstrong, the first guy to walk on the moon. Eugene Cernan, the last guy to step foot on the moon. And then not even a month after I talked about Eugene Cernan, he ended up dying. And then just before that, we got the death of John Glenn that was synced up to the NBA Finals. So, I don't know, just something to think about. There's something going on with Purdue and how it's connected to the overall mix of how they interrelate all of these media stories. And that Chris Street guy, he died in 93, which is 93 was the year where we had major flooding in the Midwest. I just remember that because I live in Iowa, and both the Missouri and the Mississippi were absolutely super flooded and whatnot. And the Houston Astros just won the World Series after Hurricane Harvey that flooded Houston, and it was all synced up. Even Matt Harvey of the Mets was the first pitcher to pitch in Houston against Houston right after Hurricane Harvey. Matt Harvey. Think about it. And then we get the Harvey Weinstein stuff like crazy in the media. So definitely something going on. And the reason why we got this story is it's connected to the overall theming. So I just want to point out some other examples in Iowa Hawkeye football history and basketball history in regards to how it's coded by the numbers. Niall Kinnick, remember Niall Kinnick, Kinnick Stadium, the football stadium named after him even. He was number 24, and he supposedly died at the age of 24. And remember, Iowa equals 24 at gematria, so he wore number 24. Supposedly dies age 24. And he also died on 6-2, right? 6/2. In gematria, Iowa Hawkeyes equal 6D2. He was also born on 7/9, or also in other parts of the world, they write it as 9/7. And Hawkeyes equal 97. Also, Kinnick Stadium was built in the year 1929. This year, with all of the interrelated stuff, I talked about how the Super Bowl was super connected to the 88th anniversary of the stock market crash and whatever else. It was played at U.S. Bank Stadium. It was synced up to all of the kneeling stuff during the national anthem. I even talked about Charles Manson before Charles Manson died. He died a month after I mentioned how all of the kneeling stuff was in connection to Charles Manson. But anyway, the stock market crash happened in the year 29 with the only president from Iowa, and Iowa is the 29th state. And the stock market crash happened on the 29th day of October in the year 1929, the same year that Kinnick Stadium was built. And Iowa also has Interstate 29 that goes all the way through it from the northern border all the way to the southern border. You know, it's a special number in regards to Iowa. The number 29, the word football even equals 29. I forgot to make these bigger, but look at it. Like Lute Olson. Lute Olson equals 34. Hawkeyes equal 34. Hayden Fry. Hayden Fry, 38. Hawkeyes, 38. Same form. You know? Kirk Ferentz, 62. Iowa Hawkeyes, 62. when I was a kid, a bunch of the Iowa Hawkeye basketball players came here and they did like a fun scrimmage game or whatever against people from the town. And we went and watched it. I remember I got AC Earl's autograph, and I just typed in AC Earl to see what AC Earl was in Gematria. His real name, AC Boyd Earl, 55. And he even wore number 55 for the Iowa Hawkeyes, you know. And I mean, you can look up other players. I bet there's more players that have these connections. Not every single player and every single coach is going to have the identical numbers to the team, but I guarantee you, if it shows up in the media is going to code it to them numbers. You know, it'll be 145 days after the person they're talking about's birthday, or, you know, maybe they'll die 145 days after their birthday. Last year, we even had the death of Kyle Calloway. Thinking about it, remember Kyle Calloway? Kyle Calloway, he died in Vail, Arizona and whatnot. He was a former Iowa Hawkeye player. Kyle Calloway, 145. It also, with the S exception, remember Tyler Sash? Tyler Sash with the S exception. Let me find it here. He equals 55. Tyler Sash equals 55. And he died all synced up by the numbers too to the Super Bowl. I can't even remember it all. Have videos on it somewhere where I talked about it, but just wanted to point out the reason we got this story about this guy missing the purposely missing a free throw is because it's all synced up by the numbers. He had to stay on number 34, and his name syncs up to Iowa Hawkeyes. This guy's death synced up to Hawkeyes. You know, murder by numbers. Check out the song by the Police called Murder by Numbers. 1, 2, 3. It's as easy as your ABCs. They've been telling us forever. Slipknot, an Iowa band, right? Just throwing it in there because Iowa. Slipknot has a song called Gematria, the killing name. So, if you think these people don't know what they're doing and there's not people in high places to understand this knowledge, you're wrong. So, have a good one. Peace.